Hallelujah. Welcome once more. We're doing something different as of last week. We actually started, but from this week we're going to go much deeper. We're dealing with the topic of the end of the age. Now, I've never been an end-time preacher. I've never ever spoke on anything to do with the end of the age all my life. But now I'm only doing it because I'm being led by the Holy Spirit. He's teaching me things and showing me things and unfolding things to me in this recent times, in this past month or so. I've been getting into it slowly, for months now, but for the past month he's been accelerating a few things, exposing things to me which I never paid much attention to. But just because I was like ready to go with him, he says, okay, you just take this turn and you take that turn, and this is where I landed up, I have to now teach this to you. This is one thing that we are involved in now as a ministry. The enemy will try everything in his power to keep people away from this. He will try everything and anything in his power to keep people away from being in this place. That's the reason why when you look around you, people, I don't know, they don't know how to fight for the good thing. They fight, but not for the good things. And what's best? What's better than the presence of God? We find every reason why we cannot be there. And I tell you what, it's coming a time now in the history of the church that your excuses actually means nothing. You're either in or you're out. You do not have options anymore. You can't serve the Lord like you have served him all your life. Things have changed, times have changed. We've gone into a new season now. And you have to open your eyes. You have to open your ears. You have to revive yourself to a point, to a degree. You got to get yourself hungry and thirsty for, not just for God's presence, but for truth. And if you're looking for facts, there's so much of facts already available to you. There's nothing being hidden now. Everything is coming out into the open. There were times, the enemy he was doing things, but he's doing it secretly. He was being subtle with what he's doing. But he's not subtle anymore. And if Christians can't wake up now, I don't think they'll ever wake up. If they don't wake up now, I don't think they will ever wake up. Like how you served God last year, you can't save him this year. Because we are so much more closer to the greatest event that this earth will ever see since the creation of Adam. You think that's serious? I know some people don't think that's serious. They think other things are serious. Did you hear what I said? We are so close to that day of the greatest event happening on this earth since Adam. God will have his day. The way he predestined it to be, and the way he wanted it to be in the first place. With all the intentions that he had for his son Adam, God's intentions never fail. So God will get his day. And that day is fast approaching, and we're so close to that day. You got no time to mess up. You got no time to be laxy-daisy. You got no time to say, no, I'll see if I can. Because the enemy will make sure that you won't, and you can't. We are living in dangerous times now. Very dangerous times. And some Christians have not woken up as yet. So now what we're going to do quickly, we're going to read through this chapter, Matthew 24. I know it is quite popular at the moment. A lot of people are talking about that chapter. There's a few things in that chapter. We're not going to deal with everything. All right? There's some things that don't really pertain to us because Jesus was addressing the Jews there in Matthew chapter 24. But this is an overlap of what happened in chapter 23. Now, I've heard a lot of people speak on this chapter. You know, there's a lot on the internet, there's a lot on television, there's a lot on YouTube. But I never heard one single preacher say that Matthew 24 is related to Matthew chapter 23. I don't know how they don't see it. I don't see how they don't see that these two chapters are dovetailing, and what Jesus said in chapter 23 triggered chapter 24. So we're going to read this so that you can get into the context. We're going to read it quite quickly, then because I've got some facts to share with you this morning. Facts that you can go research yourself and find it out on your own as well. You understand? And I encourage you to go and do that. But be careful, don't get into the wrong area and to the wrong place so that you'll get the wrong doctrine in you. That's also another a worry thing out there, something that we have to be careful of. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me closely, and I'll make sure that you're on the right path. So Matthew 24 verse 1. Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple. Now listen to what happened here, right? Jesus in chapter 23, if you go home, read chapter 23, there's a lot that he said in chapter 23. That whatever he said in chapter 23 of Matthew was ringing in the head of these disciples. It was there because he just spoke that chapter. He just said some startling things, frightening things. And they were there listening to him. But he wasn't addressing them only, he was addressing all the Jews, and especially the scribes and the Pharisees that were in the temple. And then he departed from the temple. And this is what happened, verse 2. Okay, verse 1, what they did was, now the disciples, I don't think Jesus saw the other buildings, so they were showing him the buildings there. But listen to what he responded when they were showing him the buildings. And Jesus said to them, do you not see all these things? No, they don't. They see the buildings, yes. He's not talking about the buildings. He's talking about what he just told them. That's recorded in Matthew chapter 23. That's what he's asking them. And Jesus said to them, do you not see all these things? Assuredly I say to you. Now he's talking about the buildings. Not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down. This was a prophetic statement that he made, and exactly what he said happened in 70 AD. That portion was fulfilled in 70 AD. All right? Like about 40 years or so after he ascended. That happened. Exactly what he said. Verse 3. Now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately saying, tell us now what's happening. Because of the statement he made, now these guys have become more curious now. They followed him up Mount Olives. When he sat down there, they came to him privately. This is what they told him. Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming? And when will be the end of the age? 3 questions they asked him. That 3 questions unleashed the entire Matthew chapter 24. He was answering those questions in this chapter. Let's go to verse 4. And Jesus answered and said to them, take heed that no one deceives you. That's the first thing he said. Take heed that no one deceives you. Verse 25. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. Verse 6. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, seeing that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Next verse. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. Verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. You think this is bad, but this is just the beginning. Verse 9. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. How you like to hear that? They're all sitting around him. How do you like to hear that? That they're going to send you into tribulation, they're going to kill you. They did that exactly. And you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. So this one verse of scripture tells me that in this section of chapter 24 of Matthew, he is not addressing the Jews in general. He's addressing the church now. Those that believe in him. Are you listening? The Jewish church. Get that straight. He's talking to the Jewish church, not the Gentile churches yet. Verse 10. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Verse 11. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. Verse 12. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Verse 13. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. 14. Let's just keep going. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. This is the only thing that's keeping Jesus in heaven right now. Verse 15. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Verse 16. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house. Verse 18. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. This is a sad event. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. Verse 21. For then there will be great tribulation. First he spoke about the tribulation, now I talk about a great tribulation. Such as not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. Something serious, right? Verse 22. Okay. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Verse 23. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Verse 26. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out, or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. Verse 27. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also shall the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they will gather together his elect from the four winds, and from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near, at the door. Assuredly I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words by no means pass away. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. This is a serious section, and I don't have time to talk about that, but we will deal with that later on. Verse 38. For as in the days before the flood, they were what? Eating, drinking, getting married, and giving in marriage, living life as if it was normal, until the day that Noah entered the ark. What was Noah doing all the time? Building the ark and preparing. What were the people doing? Paying no attention. The church is just the same today. They're busy. They're in the whole world, their own buzz. I'm busy building a ark, and so are other preachers in the world, trying to show you something. You're not concerned. You're not looking at it. You're in your own buzz. May the Lord help you this morning. Verse 40. 39. Okay, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 40. See, they didn't know. It took them unaware. But curiosity should have got the better of them, because Noah was spreading the word. There's going to be rain. Nobody believed him. Today we're telling you that we're so close to the day of rapture. Nobody's hearing. Even the church is deaf. They're not hearing. Doesn't matter how much you try to crank them up and stir up their faith. They're still there. Instead of being here, they're there. May the Lord help them. Then 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left. Verse 41. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken and the other left. Verse 42. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. Verse 43. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? And this is what I'm doing. I'm a wise servant. I'm giving you food. If you think I'm wasting my time, I'm not. I'm giving you food. I'm a wise servant. I'll do this until you come and take me. You want to come with me? Well, you've got to eat what I'm feeding you. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of preachers at the pulpit, but they're not feeding the sheep. A lot of them, they're very wealthy. They have everything. They have the biggest, most plush buildings you could find. All the money in the world. They've got jets. They've got everything. But they're not feeding the sheep. So when the master comes, will they be doing what he wanted them to do? Oh no, but the church don't know that. The church look at the charismatic ways, and how they move and how they do and what they talk and what they have. And the dumb sheep are following them. Sheep are dumb. No wonder he calls us sheep. They follow them. No, he's okay. He's a big man. He got a big name. He got this. Hey, is he doing what the Lord asked him to do? Is he feeding the sheep in due season? Is he giving them the food fitting for now? He can't give to them what he prepared 20 years ago. The message of the church has changed now. My responsibility is to prepare you so that when he comes, you'll be prepared to be taken. That's what I'm doing. Not messing around. You want to mess around after you hear this, go ahead and mess around. I'm not stopping you. Assuredly, I say to you that he will make him ruler over all his goods. I'm not looking for that, right? Verse 48. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming. You know what? Pastors are saying this right now. Are you aware of that? Oh no, we've been waiting for 2,000 years, he didn't come. Christians are saying that. How long now? Everybody, from over 2,000 years now, we're talking about him. I don't believe that. I had to rebuke someone on his face. I told him, I care two hoots whether you believe it or not. This is not up to you believing it. This is what the scriptures are saying. These are the signs that Lord has told us to look out for. This is what we're finding right now. So whether you believe it or not, doesn't make any difference. I told him. He was shocked. So, can we go back to verse 48? Just want to bring something to your notice there. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, look at verse 49. Look at verse 49. And begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. Can I be free this morning to tell you that a lot of churches are in that state? We're not talking about unsaved people now. We're talking about churches and pastors that are in that state. Some of them are nothing but an abomination to the Lord, especially these seeker-sensitive churches. Do you know this is exactly what they're doing? Are you aware? So what they're doing? They're beating the other servants. In other words, they're taking advantage over the sheep. So for many of them, this is a career. You understand? This is a business. I heard one businessman saying that there's more money in the church than in the business. So let me go and start a church. This is serious, church. This is very serious. So many of them are in that state right now. Verse 50, please. The master of that servant will come on a day when he is not looking for him, and at an hour that he is not aware of. Listen, this means something totally different now. You wonder why sometimes some pastors die young. Here's your answer. If he doesn't remove them from the earth, they're going to undo all the good things they did, if he leaves them in that way. Verse 51. And will cut him in two, oh goodness me, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. We don't have time to discuss all of that. But this is serious, serious matter. Matthew chapter 24, I'm repeating myself, is dovetailing from Matthew chapter 23. There's a few things that we will highlight. And you must understand that some of these things, some of the things in Matthew chapter 24 has been fulfilled. In the same exact way as Jesus said. But there's a lot content here in this chapter talking about the tribulation that is recorded in the book of Revelation. Now, I don't want to take you there today. I have to build in a foundation in you before I take you in there and start to show you some things. Now, one question that must always be on your mind from now until what the big event's going to take place. Where do we fit in? Where do you fit in? You're a believer in Jesus Christ, am I right? You believe that he took all the punishment you deserve, he took upon himself. You believe that all the sacrifices he made for you, right? You believe that he shed his blood for you, he took those 39 stripes for you. You believe that. You believe that he was nailed on the cross. You believe all of that. You believe that he died for you. You believe that he rose on the third day for you. Am I right? But then if you believe all of that, where does that put you now? What is your condition? Do you stand in some of these things that Jesus spoke of here in Matthew 24? Don't you want to know? Don't you want to know? So if you want to know, church, then where should you be? Where should you be? Where there's knowledge, right? Where knowledge is flowing, where facts are being read. Shouldn't be anywhere else. Because this has to do with you. This has to do with the end of the age. And we are very, very, very fast approaching it. I had a man of God this week say something. He's a very respectful man of God. I think is one of those thorough ones, that is being very, very particular in what he says and how he says it. And he said he's quite surprised that the church is still here. In fact, to him, he says, in my calculation, I think it's overdue. We should be gone from here already. Well, I don't 100% agree with him on that, because there's some things that Jesus said that must take place. Are you listening? Listen to me, church. Listen very carefully. Jesus Christ is not coming for a torn up, beaten up, broken down church. He's not coming to a church that is poor, wretched, blind, and naked. He's coming for his glorious church. So this one question should remain on your mind all the time. Where do we as the church, where do I as an individual, as a believer in Christ, where do I fit in this end of the age event? What is my state? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to us all? They're all part of the church of the Lord Jesus Christ. Good question. So I'm going to give you some facts now, right? Now the only way you can recall these facts is by going back and listening, to this message again. Will you do that? Have you listened to the last week's one? Please, you need to keep doing that. And when you go onto the YouTube channel and you're listening to it there, please subscribe to it so that it can spread more people can hear it. I see there's a big increase in the number of people that are listening to these messages now. I was just looking into that yesterday. There's a large number of people, and people are liking it, And when you do that, what happens? The message spreads more. The channel opens up more. So if you really love people and care for people, please go onto that YouTube channel and do that. I'm not marketing myself. This is not my message, you understand? This is his message. This is the work of the kingdom. If I'm speaking the truth, so everybody should hear the truth. And you are the carrier of the truth. So you should come on board with me and help me with this, so that we can get the message out to our people, to our friends and relatives. And then if you have people that you're working with and people that are at home or relatives, please tell them. Give them the link. Let them go on to the channel. Let them listen, to the messages. Because believe me, when it comes to take his church, you don't want them to be left behind, right? Hopefully. So yes, this is a very powerful information I'm going to give you right now. So firstly, you must understand chapter 23, as I asked you to go home and read. All right, we don't have time to go and read that chapter. And then you dovetail that with chapter 24 in your time of reading, and you can get a picture of what's going on. All right? Now, one of the things that he mentioned here in verses 4 and 5, in the same chapter, what did he say? He says, there are many that will come in my name to deceive many. Now, how true is that? Is that happening at the moment? Are you aware that it's happening at the moment? In my research, this is what I found out. There are 10 people right now. 10. One is even a woman that claims to be Jesus Christ on the earth right now, even as I'm speaking to you. 10. 10 of them are claiming to be Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus said this is going to happen, right? In Matthew 24, verse 4 and 5. He said, be aware, don't be deceived. There are many that's going to come in my name and going to mislead many. Right now, there are 10 people in the world that claim to be Jesus Christ. And they're actually saying to the people, I am Jesus, and I promised you that I'm coming back, and here I am. So there's a man in Australia, and the devil is really using this man. He married a young woman, and he renamed her Mary. So when people come and to his followers, they know him as Jesus and Mary. And I tell you something, As I release the anointing here in these services all the time, that man releases the power of the devil in his services all the time. People start to shake and people start to fall. And he's doing things. And I tell you what, the way he is operating, and he's getting a lot of following. And Christian people think that he is really Jesus. And they are being deceived. Why? Because the moment they enter the complex where he operates, they're feeling something, they're sensing something, but that's not God. So demons are operating through this man. So that is a fulfillment of what? Of Scripture. The reason why I'm sharing these facts with you, so that you will understand for once in your life how close we are. Please, I beg of you, open your ears and listen. Open your heart to receive. There are 10, but there must be more. But right now, I researched 10 of them. And one happened to be a woman as well. You know what she's saying? Don't worry about the others, all of them are lying. I'm the real Jesus. I told you I'm coming back, but I didn't tell you how I'm coming. But I came as a woman. Now, this is serious. And you know, it could be a joke. We could laugh at it. But it's not, because they are deceiving. They are getting a following. People are following them. And they're going to take them straight into hell. All right, so the next one in verse 14. As I said to you, in verse 14, he said, this message of the kingdom must be preached throughout the world, so that every tribe, every language, every people group, every nation must hear the message of the gospel. Then the Son of Man will come. Now, according to another missionary, he has been doing his own work and own research as a missionary. He says there's only about 14 or 15 groups of people still need to be reached. So by just now, it won't be very long that group will be reached, and the message of the gospel will be preached to them, and then the earth is ready. For what? We will deal with that as we're going. In verse 23 and verse 25, again Jesus spoke about the false Christ and false Messiah. Please listen to me very carefully. This is another fulfillment, yeah? Do you know at the moment in Israel, they have a Messiah? I'm not talking about Jesus now. I'm talking about another Messiah. Are you aware of that? And what did Jesus say? He will do miracles. He will do great things. And this guy is actually doing great things. So far, he did about 6 miracles. This Messiah, this false Christ, exactly what Jesus promised and prophesied in Matthew 24. It's happening right now in Israel. He is in existence. He is in Israel. Actually, the Pope, the Catholic Pope, the Prime Minister of Israel, all of them endorsed him as the Messiah now. So Israel as a Messiah, not Jesus Christ, but another Messiah. So that's another fact that you must take seriously. So what am I saying? All of these things that Jesus promised that's going to happen before he comes is happening. It's happening at the moment, even as we are studying this today. So the false Christ is busy at work, misleading everybody in Israel. And I've watched some of the material from there and the endorsements that he has. It's shocking. It is shocking what they and the evil that is coming out of their mouths about Jesus Christ. Man, you don't want to hear that. The filthy words, the things, expressions that are coming out of their mouth against him, you don't want to hear that. These same people that are now following that Christ. All right, so let's go quickly through these items that I have here. So firstly, the fulfillment already, according to Matthew 24, they are false Jesuses, right? You agree with that? There's about 10 of them that I've counted myself, right? Secondly, the false Messiah, the Christ, which is already in Israel and he's leading people to come to him. And he already got some endorsements. Okay? And then thirdly, the beast. Now we have to look at the beast quickly. Where is the beast? Who is the beast? Now in the early years, there was a lot of teaching about the beast. And it was just presumption, and it was false calculations. And of course, I listened to them at that time in the 80s. And I thought those messages were very, very, very powerful, but they were actually very, very, very misleading. Why? Because the people that have done those researches at that time, they had limited knowledge and limited material to work on. I'm in a better position today because I'm standing here in the fulfillment of the prophecies of Jesus. Now, where's the beast? Who is the beast? Is the beast already around? Is he gaining momentum here on the earth? Please listen to me carefully. Is he here? Who is the beast? What is he doing? What are they doing? Are they a group of people? Is it one man? What's his function? Is he operating from an organization? How is he operating? What's he doing? How is he going to really function as a beast? Well, firstly, he's not going to come knock on your door. Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm the beast. He's not going to do that. All right? And the way it's going to be, the way he's operating right now, people will just get sucked into it. Now, when you go back to 2020 and you look at the time of the pandemic, there are a lot of people that took the vaccination. They took it just because their bosses told them, if you do not take the vaccination, you can't come back to work. So how quickly they took the vaccination. So you tell me something. If that same kind of threat comes today from the beast or from your bosses, how many would go and take the vaccination, so to speak? I'm not talking about vaccinations. I'm just saying. How many people will go and compromise? Oh, I don't want to lose my job. If I lose my job, what am I going to do? That's exactly what people said in 2020. And they didn't go and take the vaccination because it became what? A kind of a law. You understand? It was regulated from our government. It was being enforced by them. And the works of the beast, listen to me carefully. He's not going to do this subtly. He's going to be open about it, and he's going to be legislated by governments. So you are forced to doing it. Let's go through some of the things quickly, all right? Firstly, the first suspect, and I believe he's more than a suspect, is a man by the name of Klaus Schwab. He's a European man. He started an organization in 1971. And the name of that organization is WEF, World Economic Forum. He started this organization, he was a founder of it in 1971, and he had, I don't know what his intentions were, but from 1971 up until now, this man has gained so much of momentum. To a degree, listen carefully. At the moment, as members of that organization of WEF, 1,000 of the largest corporations in the world. I mean, you're looking at corporations like Amazon, Facebook. You're looking at giants. 1,000 of these giant companies are members of the WEF. Now, if you do not understand what a membership is, have you ever been, anyone here, have you ever been a member of a club? I'll tell you what happened. The first thing that you must do as a member is that you must pay your membership fees. All right, that's a first requirement. You pay your membership fees to the club. That's the first thing you do. And then you get all the membership privileges. Now you've got to have to be qualified firstly to become a member. They'll do all the credit checks and whatever before they accept you. And when they accept you, you sign a document, you become a legal member, and you pay your fees. So now you get all the privileges of the club. Like you know, there are a lot of, most of the clubs, most of the sporting organizations are operated by in the same system like a club. You become a member of that club. In other words, you are a part owner of that club. Your words and your say matters. All right, but you are contributing now to the club. You're paying your fees. The other thing is, they will give you all the privileges. In other words, that club exists for you as a member. So everything that club will be doing, it will be doing for your benefit as a member. They're not concerned about the outside world. So in other words, if you come to this particular venue and you're not a member, you're not allowed. They'll tell you straight, no, you're not a member, you're not allowed here. Because then it's not for the whole world, it's not for everyone, it's for club members. But if you go in as a club member, you have every privilege. You're free to go and sit wherever you want, do whatever you want. You know, you're free into the clubhouse, you're free into the golf course, you're free here, you're free there because you're a member. So the maintenance of the place and the painting of it and development of it and make it nice and wonderful and luxurious because you are paying your fees, and when you come to the club, you deserve the best. The WEF operates on the same level. So this 1,000 companies, corporate companies that are on their list, that are members, they are member of this club. Listen carefully. All right, listen carefully. You might not understand everything, but just listen as much as you can. The WEF also has a strategy. You know what their strategy is? With the power they have right now, imagine you have 1,000 largest companies in the world with the most money ever on earth amongst this 1,000 big companies. How much of power you have? You have a lot of power now. So now you become so strong that you can even dictate to the banks. You can even tell the banks what you want them to do. If not, your member will leave. He'll withdraw his account from there, take it to another bank. So even the banks are under their control. Please listen carefully. So the strategy of the WEF is to control all the wealth in the world. To control all the wealth, to control all the governments, and all the wealth. Let me tell you what they're doing at the end of the day, what they are trying to do. All right? You can work. You can have your businesses. But you don't control your money. Huh? Yes. You don't control your money. They control your money for you. You go to work. You go and do your business. But they will run your money. They will tell you what you can do with your money and what you cannot do with it. So what will happen eventually? What will happen eventually is that your house will be their house. Listen, this is not a joke. Listen carefully. This is getting serious now. Your car is their car. Your pension fund is their money. Your retirement fund, your investment is all theirs. I'll tell you, this is a phrase, a statement they coined. This is what they say, and this is from the WEF. This is what they are saying right now. You won't own anything, but you will be happy. You won't own anything, but you'll be happy. What are they saying? They will control you. They will control your money. They will be in charge of everything. You understand? How do they plan to do this? They have a strategy. They plan to do this through a thing called the Great Global Reset. I don't expect you to understand everything, but the way I'm going to explain it, I want you to have a bit of knowledge about it. The Great Global Reset. How are they going to do this? There's a thing called CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. How will that operate? Central bank digital currency. So in other words, paper money, coins, you'll never see it again. There will be no money. They will all work on a credit system put on a chip. So if you're working for a company and you're getting paid, yes, they will transfer that money to where? Not to your local banks. Central bank. Here in South Africa, it will be the Reserve Bank. So it will be the central bank that will be using and operating this digital currency. So it's all done through computers, and they will transfer credit to that chip you have. You know what's the frightening thing about that chip? That you won't be able to buy or sell anything without their permission. Nothing. You won't be able to go to the shop and buy anything, or you won't be able to sell anything without permission given to you through that chip. So in other words, if you go to the shop and you want to buy something and you want to pay for it, the chip won't work until the central bank gives the go-ahead. So what they do, they're controlling you and your money. Now the big question is, where will that chip be? Is it coming in a form of a credit card? A card that you swipe? No. Do you know they have formulated a chip right now to be inserted here in your palm? Are you aware? They're already testing that. They're already testing it. So when you go to purchase something, provided you got permission from the central bank, you go and swipe your palm. And then you pay for whatever that is out of the credit what you have. So you got no money in your pocket, you don't need wallets, everything you own belongs to them. You won't own anything, but you'll be happy. I wonder what some people are going to do right now, because for some people, only material things make them happy. They have no heart for spiritual things. I don't know what they're going to do at that time, because they will own nothing. So, this is what we're talking about, the beast. This is how that beast is now operating. This man is an antichrist, firstly. He is a founder of WEF, and now as a manager in place, all right, that is now the CEO. I heard this man myself. This is what he's saying. He says that everything is a lie. Jesus Christ, there is no Jesus Christ. This is what he's saying. The CEO, the current CEO of WEF. He's saying Jesus coming back again, that's a lie. Jesus' blood got no power. These Christians are fooled. They all are going to follow us. Oh. And you think we still have time on our hands? You still think we can live life normally like how we've been living it all these years? I don't think so. If these facts are not going to change you today, nothing else will change you. So how is this man going to do this and take over the whole world? Of course, we know that he is an instrument of the devil. All right? Now, you know, the global reset is a huge thing. It's a huge thing. In other words, resetting the whole world. According to him, he says, reset the whole world. You know, when you reset something, you put it all back to zero. That's what he's intending to do, to start the world all over again, and he'll have control over it. And don't tell me, with what he's done already, that he's not capable of doing that when he's got the devil working with him. So he's the beast. So this one of the operations that he wants to do, and which will happen according to the scriptures as well, there will be a one world order. In other words, there will be a one world government. There will be one government for the whole world. And there's no guessing who that might be that will be ruling the world. The beast. So he'll be in charge. Now listen to me. Just say, for instance, one of you are the owners of one of those 1,000 companies, right? And you decide, hey, no man, this is evil. I want to step out. You wouldn't be able to. Why? Because you got the others, you got 999 companies against you. The other 999 that's still part of as members there, they'll close your business down. They'll shut you down in no time. Doesn't matter how big you are. They'll just cut off your supply and you'll be history. So for even the members that are there, that are Christians, they realize that this is a wrong thing and they want to step out. They can't. They wouldn't be able to. Because that's how powerful the global reset is. So one world order, one world government, and there will be a one world currency. Yeah, in South Africa we have rands, in America they got American dollars, and Australia they got Australian dollars, and they got rupees in India, yuan in China, rubles in Russia. They got different currencies all over. But at that time it will be one world currency. Everybody operates on the same level because everyone will have the same chip. But all being operated from a central bank. Then there will be one world religion. One world religion. Do you know that they have redrawn the 10 Commandments? That is in the Bible. Now there's an organization called this planet people, what you call them? I just don't think much of them. They are the ones now bringing awareness to the world and the damages that the human beings are causing, and they want to control the climate, they say. All right? So, in other words, if you, I'm going to read this 10 Commandments to you now, and in this 10 Commandments, it's like 10 pledges to make the world, the earth, like God. So in other words, you live for the world, you live for the earth, you must basically worship the earth. All right? So, these are the 10 Commandments they have written out. You must understand the Pope, the Catholic Pope, he was part of this. The Prime Minister of Israel, he was part of this. And you know what they did on Mount Sinai? You remember when Moses got the 10 Commandments from God? And when he looked at the people, he saw that they were involved in idolatry. Out of anger, what he did? He threw those tablets down. And a big ball of fire hit that calf and they started to burn. They did the same thing as a mockery to God. They took 2 tablets of stone and went up on Mount Sinai and they broke it there. Like how Moses did it, as a mockery to God. And they now wrote this 10 Commandments. Number 1, we are children of this world. Not children of God, children of this world. Okay, that's first commandment. The second one, creation manifests divinity. So in other words, you must worship creation because creation is divine. So I've been warning you about this climate control people for years now. I told you that the devil is behind this, didn't I? So now you can see the close connection now with the WEF and all the other people in the world, how they're combining their forces. Now, number 3, everything in life is interconnected. Animals and humans and all of that, and we are not. Everything is not interconnected, but according to them, everything in life is interconnected. Number 4, do not do harm to the earth. Do not do harm to the earth. Number 5, look after tomorrow. This 10 Commandments got no concern for human beings because the earth is now the God. I'll tell you the reason for that just now. Number 6, rise above ego for our world. In other words, you bring yourself down and uplift the world, the earth, so to speak. Number 7, change our inner climate. Change our inner climate? They're talking about some kind of a demonic transformation that must take place inside of you. Believe me, those people that are calling themselves Jesus Christ right now on the earth, these false Jesus Christ, they're releasing that same spirit into people. Number 8, repent and return to the earth. Goodness gracious me. You have to repent to the earth for causing damage to it and return to it. Are you listening to me? Number 9, every action matters. Number 10, use mind and keep an open heart. Now, LGBTQ, I don't know if I got that right, LGBTQ, now they got 2 S in the end of it. So someone inquired, what does that mean? 2 S means 2 spirits. So even the LGBTQ people are not being subtle anymore. They're not doing it secret anymore. They're being open. 2 spirits. You must have 2 spirits in you. That's what it actually means here, number 10. Use your mind and be open-hearted. So in other words, accept everything. You understand? Accept everything. What's going on? So, why are they focusing so much? Why are they focusing so much on the earth? Let's go back to the beginning quickly. We'll close just now. Let's go back to the beginning. When God created Adam, as I said to you, Adam was his pride and joy. When the Father created Adam, he enjoyed Adam. How many of you got babies at home? Or how many of you know? I know what some of you do. You don't have babies at home, but you keep visiting that one family that got babies. I know you do that. You only go there for the babies. And you do that because you love babies. Why? Because they bring you pleasure. You love to talk to them. You love, everything about them. That's how God, our Father, our Daddy, that's how He was to Adam. He loved him with that same love. Adam was his pride and joy. What do you think when he saw Adam alone? He says, hey, no, it's not good for him to be alone. So God made him sleep, took a rib from his side, made him a woman. So when God saw them together, He says, wow, this is good. You see, that's how loving our Daddy is. And all of His intention for us is always perfect and always good. Because He's just and He is righteous. How do I know that? Because He gave Adam something. If I was God, I wouldn't have given it to him. But you must thank God that I'm not God. All right? He gave him a will, a power of choice. And that's what caused the problem. Because Adam had a freedom of choice. He can choose. And God loved him so much and wanted Adam to choose to love him back as a father. Not that Adam didn't love him. Oh yes, he did. But what went wrong? I wouldn't say that his wife went wrong. No. She ate of that fruit. Nothing happened. She ate, nothing happened. Why? God wasn't holding her accountable for what she didn't know. You see, Adam told her that we can eat of anything here, what our Father gave us, but see that tree? No, that one we mustn't eat of. Now what happened here is because she misunderstood the whole thing, I think. Why? Because you can see it in her words. When the serpent came and he told her and asked her a question, did God really say? How many of the devil still operates like that today? He don't tell you, he asks you a question. Like if somebody want to gossip about somebody right now, they'll come, what do you think about that person? They're not telling you, I came to gossip today, came to visit you, I came to gossip. No, they'll ask, what do you think of that person? You think they should do that? And before you know it, you got caught in that gossip. That's how exactly the devil works. did God really say? She said, yes. She said, God said we mustn't eat that thing, we mustn't even touch it. God didn't say that. God didn't say you mustn't touch it. All He said, you mustn't eat of it. And because of a little bit exaggeration, right, she opened the door even more for deception. Then she took it, He gave her the fruit, and she was eating. She had no problem. The earth was the same, everything was the same, the glory of God was still there, the garden was still there, everything was just so nice. As it was, when Adam came, I don't know where he came from, she gave him the fruit. I don't know whether she explained to him what the devil told her. Because when God asked him, Adam, what did you do? He says, this wife you gave me, this woman you gave me, she gave me and I ate. And that was it. But let me ask you a question. Did the father stop loving Adam from that moment? No. No, he didn't. He never stopped loving Adam. Adam was still his pride and joy. And he wanted Adam back. So he had to go now into a cleansing mode. But listen right at the beginning what he did. He gave Adam the earth. So Adam had the lease for the earth. So in other words, Adam was now the steward. For the next 6,000 years or so, this earth will belong to him. That's what God did. But what happened was, see, God in His divine power, He knew exactly that what's going to happen already before it happens. Because if you read the book of Ephesians, this is what he says. The scripture says that God knew before the foundation of the earth. That means before He even did the creation, before He even created Adam, He knew Adam was going to make a mistake. So He already had a mechanism in place to fix this problem. But you see, God is so holy that it has to take a seasonal time of cleansing and different periods in history before we could come to the time of cleansing. And it lasted 6,000 years, mind you. 6,000 years to where we are today. Right? Let me ask you a question quickly, right? If this lease lasted for 6,000 years, which Adam handed over the lease to the devil when he obeyed him? So it wasn't under Adam's control anymore. Who controlled the world? Who controlled the earth? The devil. Jesus called him the God of this world. Listen carefully. He was in charge now. He was in control now because Adam handed it over to him. So when you come back to the WEF and the climate people, you see who they're really working for. You read the 10 Commandments, yeah? You see what it is designed to do. Because when Adam handed over the earth to the devil became God of the earth, and everything is now controlled by him. But let me tell you something. He knows that his days are numbered. The devil knows that his days are numbered. He's going to be taken out. But we'll talk about that later on. We don't have time for that now. But his days are numbered. So, this is it. Adam handed over the earth. He handed over the earth, and then the devil took charge, and all the nonsense that was happening on the earth from that time up until now. So, God wants his Adam back. So who he sent? Jesus. Are you listening? To get Adam back. Now the question, did he get Adam back? Yes. 100%? No. So, he got Adam back. So all those that believe in Jesus have come back to God our Father. But we have not received our full salvation as yet. That day is coming. That must be our focus, your focus and my focus for that day. That's what we're going to talk about probably in the next session. You can't miss that. Because you're going to find out where you are at, what your part to play, what's going to happen. Did you ever think about this? Are you going to go through the tribulation and those sufferings? What is going to be your state? Who are you? Where will you be? And what about the promises that Jesus made? When will those promises be met? Well, you're going to have to find out. So God, our Father, put this plan into place, and He said, for 6 days you can work, and the 7th day you can't work, you got to have to rest. So we're calling that the 7th millennium, all right? And in that 7th millennium, you don't work. So 1 day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as 1 day. So if Jesus Christ ascended to heaven in AD 30 or AD 33 and a half, around there, and we're in 2023 now, so how many more years have we got to go to AD 33 and a half? To be exactly 2 days. Frightening, right? You think I'm messing around here? You think you got the time to fool around like you've been fooling around all these years? You got the time to build and buy and do this and do that, and you... I don't know. I don't know. If the full 2 days is going to be the year 2033 and a half, we're not going to be here for an extra moment. So my big question, if we got under 10 years to be on this planet, then what's the point of anything? What's the point? You see, this is why I'm encouraging you. That you have to go out there and get others to come. If you love people so much, when you go, you got to take them with you. You can't leave them back here. You can't. You cannot.